This show is brought to you by KetConnection.com, draft beverage supplies and solutions. KetConnection has the experience and the expertise to get you set up. Tap your favorite craft beer, homebrew, wine, cold brew, kombucha, sparkling water, and more at home with ease using a KetConnection.com dispensing kit. Go to KetConnection.com, use our promo code BNW, that's for Booze News Weekly, and save 10% off your first order. Some restrictions may apply. Visit KetConnection.com for more details. Coming up on this episode of Booze News Weekly, Oskar Blues closes their Boulder Taproom, Monster and Constellation merge looks likely, Modern Times closing 4 taprooms, and draft sales increase nationwide. It's Monday, February 21st, 2022. Welcome to this episode of Booze News Weekly, your source for weekly beverage industry news and commentary delivered quickly and conveniently. My name is Joshua Stubing. If you haven't already, click that like button below, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification icon to make sure you never miss an episode. Now let's take a look at the headlines of the week. Our first headline comes from Westword.com. Oskar Blues closes Boulder Taproom after purchase by Monster. 4 years after it opened on the Pearl Street Mall, Oskar Blues has apparently closed its Big Boulder Taproom and restaurant. The news comes less than a month after Monster Beverage announced that it was buying the brewery's parent company, Canarchy, and 4 other craft breweries across the country. Aaron Baker, senior marketing manager for Oskar Blues, told Westword he can't comment on the closure or anything related to the Monster acquisition, but all information about the location has been taken down from the brewery's website, and its Facebook page is no longer operating. It's unknown if the closure is permanent or if Monster has other plans for that space. Oskar Blues moved into the space at 921 Pearl Street, the former home of World of Beer, in late 2017, 2 years after a private equity firm, Fireman Capital Partners, acquired a majority stake in the brewery. Like Oskar Blues' other taprooms restaurants in Longmont, Denver, and Colorado Springs, it featured food, music, and a wide variety of beers from Oskar Blues, its sister companies, and other local beer makers. I don't have a strong opinion about this, but I imagine they're not commenting because it has something to do with the acquisition by Monster. Oskar Blues, it's probably cost prohibitive to keep up a spot on Pearl Street. If y'all know anything about Boulder, which I know this amount, if you're an audio listener, my fingers are squinched. I don't know a lot, but I've been to Boulder a few times, visited the BA there, the Brewers Association. It's a wonderful campus and a very cool city, but it's expensive from what I've heard. And Pearl Street is like the creme of expensiveness, I can only imagine. Very popular, campus type environment and real nice shopping to go there. There's a lot of mom and pop shops, so maybe it's not that expensive, but I imagine this is all part of the financial collateral that happens in big acquisitions like Monster taking over Canarchy, which is Oskar Blues' parent company, like it said in the article. But what do y'all think? Let me know in the comments if you think this is Monster cleaning house and making sure that their purchase power from that acquisitions holds strong for the long haul, or if you think it's just bad timing and a coincidence that Oskar Blues ended up closing down this taproom. Moving on, our next headline, Monster Beverage and Constellation mergers talks are progressing. This one comes from Bloomberg.com. Talks between Monster Beverage Corp., the maker of energy drinks, and Corona brewer Constellation Brands Inc. about a combination are progressing, according to people familiar with the matter. A merger agreement could be reached in the coming weeks if negotiations proceed smoothly, the people said, asking not to be identified because they're discussing private information. The similarly sized companies have a combined market value of about $90 billion. An agreement might take longer to reach or could still fall apart, the people said. The exact structure of the transaction under discussion couldn't immediately be learned. I'm going to inject real quick. That sounds very safe for an anonymous person to say. The deal could go forward or it might not go forward. I think that's the only two options. Moving on. Representatives for Corona, California-based Monster Beverage, and Constellation all declined to comment. While a tie-up with Constellation could open up growth opportunities for Monster, some analysts see limited opportunity for cost savings because they operate in different segments. Any deal would create a unique combination of energy drinks, alcoholic beverages, and potentially marijuana. I'm sorry, I never do this. I'm injecting again. Isn't marijuana the pejorative term? Isn't it cannabis? Isn't cannabis what you're supposed to say? Or someone correct me if I'm wrong. I thought marijuana was a pejorative, like a negative connotation. Anyways, I'm sorry. Moving on to the article. Let me get through this. In January, Monster announced a $330 million purchase of Canarchy Craft Brewery, LLC. That deal added about a half dozen brands, including Squatters, who makes Juicy IPA, to its drink portfolio. A tie-up with Constellation would represent a much more significant bet on alcoholic drinks. A possible tie-up, quote, could give the new entity a jump on the growing scramble to serve the surging U.S. market for low-alcohol drinks, according to Bloomberg intelligence analyst Kenneth Shea. After the Canarchy deal, quote, we expect the strategic move into the crowded and competitive domestic alcoholic beverage market as risky, since it will have to boost spending to scale up operations nationally and compete with larger companies with more resources. Constellation also has a stake of about 40% in Canopy Growth Corp., a Canadian cannabis company that sells THC-infused drinks in that country. That could have implications for Coca-Cola's almost 20% stake in Monster and its distribution pact with the beverage maker. Critics have expressed concern that producing THC drinks might hurt the images of Monster and Atlanta-based Coca-Cola, while others say it presents an opportunity for Coca-Cola to add indirect exposure to the growing market for cannabis products. A potential transaction would likely require the support of the Sands family, which is a major shareholder in Constellation and holds top board positions. The firm, which is based in Victor, New York, started as a wine producer in 1945 and now sells Corona Extra and Modelo Especial in the U.S., as well as Casa Noble Tequila, Svedka Vodka, and High West Whiskey. These mergers, every episode. First off, I apologize if this show seems like it's turning into the Monster Beverage Canarchy happy hour or something, but that's what's happening right now in the news, is all these big companies and news about after these acquisitions happen and the decisions and the repercussions that come with all that. To me, it's super interesting because it's not ever just so straightforward as Company A bought Company B and they held hands and lived happily ever after. There's all these, especially when we're talking, like, we live in an era where it's not just a company and there is subsidiaries and cousin companies and all this, all these repercussions and consequences and just trickle down kind of side effects from these major deals. So it will be interesting to see, will we, I make the joke about low alcohol being the future frontier and or alcoholic versions of our favorite beverages from fast food joints or from 7-Eleven or wherever. Is the future going to be actually a THC infused Coca-Cola, Mom, Coca-Cola I'm talking about? Is that what people they think want in the market? I've never had a THC infused drink. It doesn't sound appealing to me. It almost sounds counterintuitive to have the downing effect of the alcohol. And well, I guess it depends on I'm not a cannabis expert, don't have a lot of experience with cannabis. It just doesn't seem like a good combo. Like, it almost seems like one would cross out the other when you combine the two. Not saying people don't do that on a Friday night, they combine the two, but it just doesn't seem appealing to me. But as I've professed in this show many a times, what do I know? Our third headline for this week is another sad one. Modern Times Beer to close Oakland Taproom and 3 other locations. From sfgate.com, San Diego-based brewery Modern Times Beer abruptly announced the closure of half of its locations. At the end of this week, taprooms in Oakland, Portland, Santa Barbara, and Los Angeles will shutter. Quote, it is a surreal and painful turn of events for us, and we realize that the suddenness of it puts many people we care about in very difficult positions, read a blog post on the Modern Times site. Quote, we truly wish that there was another way to resolve the financial issues we now face, but we have been put in a position by the pandemic and global declines in the craft beer industry, from which this tremendously difficult path is the only way forward for us. Modern Times cited 4 years of expensive, rapid expansion, followed by the devastating economic impact of the pandemic as the reasons behind the closures. In case you forgot, in May of 2021, Modern Times made headlines for another reason. The brewery was named in an outpouring of misogyny allegations rocking the beer industry. Following dozens of accusations of harassment, employees at the Oakland Taproom announced that they would not be working until, quote, company leadership acts in a way that aligns with our personal values of inclusion and equality, and that appropriate actions and measures are put in place to prevent further discrimination and harassment. Soon after, Modern Times founder and CEO Jacob McKean announced his resignation. In January 2022, a new CEO stepped in, Jennifer Briggs, formerly of New Belgium Brewing. Quote, as new leadership has stepped up and taken the helm over the last few weeks, it became clear that the financial state of the company that we are now tasked with directing is not just unsustainable, but in immediate and unavoidable peril, continued the Modern Times blog post. As a result of this, we are forced to make some incredibly hard choices, which, while necessary for the health and continued success of our company, will result in many of our talented, hardworking staff losing their jobs. Modern Times Point Loma, North Park, Encinitas, and Anaheim locations will remain open. And we'll wrap up with a little bit of good news. It came from beerboard.com. The headline, draft sales during the Super Bowl increased 41% nationwide. Big spoiler. Beerboard, the leader in technology and automated intelligence for the on-premise hospitality industry, today released its 2022 Big Game Pour Report. There it is right there on the screen. A review of insights and performance data for draft beer on the day of America's most popular sporting event. This annual report shows the big game is much more than just the action on the field. It has a direct impact on bars, brewers, and markets. The 2022 report looks at February 13th, 2022, and compares same-store data against February 7th, 2021, which was the date of the 2021 big game, and February 2nd, 2020, which was the date of the 2020 big game. If you're an audio-only listener, I'm doing air quotes because apparently you can't say Super Bowl in press releases. Tracking over $1 billion in on-premise draft beer sales annually, Beerboard's real-time brand insights are generated from every Beerboard metered draft line across national casual dining concepts and major regional and independent bars. Its retail client list includes industry leaders Buffalo Wild Wings, Hooters, Winghouse, Twin Peaks, and Mellow Mushroom. Beerboard also partners with major brewers including AB InBev, Constellation Brands, Boston Beer, Lagunitas, Heineken, Diageo, and Yingling. I think I butchered the second to last one. Anyway, it's no surprise. People drink when they're watching sports. I think I said the big game's proper phrasing. I don't want to get flagged because we don't have a legal department. I have no idea if I can say the real name of the event. But I drank more too, and I don't even care. But it was LA and oh my gosh. See, I can't even tell you who was in the Super Bowl. It was that bad. It was the Rams and it was somebody else. That's as much as I know. So, but I do know that I enjoyed more beer. I didn't enjoy it on draft. This specific article was about draft sales. It made sense to me. I won't make the claim we're out of the pandemic as much as restrictions are loosening across the country. Bars are operating as much as they can now, as they ever have in the last 2 years. So of course it makes sense compared to 2020, where this was right before lockdowns happened across the country. The big game was, but last year, did anybody watch this game in a bar? I don't remember. Even in Texas here, where we've been open for a good chunk of time, I don't recall there being a big presence of marketing from bars that were showing the game. I can't recall. You'll have to let me know in the comments if you did. I'm not a people person, so I usually enjoy my beer here, my home brew, or any kind of Kolsch that I get from commercial brewers imported from Germany. But I can't say that I even went out this year. But I will say, I imagine on that day, most people drink more on that day as a national average. This isn't surprising news. But to me, again, I think it's good news. I think getting more people out there drinking good craft beer is always a good thing, and seeing the industry try to flourish, even if it's just for that day. Hopefully trends this year as people get more comfortable being in crowded areas or in going out more. Hopefully we see these draft sales increasing even more, not just because people are watching this big game. And that's it, guys, for this week. If you have any tips or industry news, email it to me, Joshua at homebrewhappyhour.com, or use the hashtag BNW on social media. Also, you can find this episode and so much more content and articles available at homebrewhappyhour.com. Make sure you visit our sponsor, KetConnection.com. Use our promo code BNW for 10% off that order. Have a great week. We'll see you soon.